Hi, do you know someone whose life is almost perfect when you look at from outside, but deep inside something is missing? And that person is restless because he or she doesn't even know what is missing. This is similar to a situation where you're looking for an answer without even knowing the question. The guest of our podcast tonight is a special person who can actually help these kind of people. Hi, welcome to my podcast, Happy, Not Just Rich. Our guest tonight is Bramharishi Abhijeet. Bramharishi is a successful IT consultant turned into life design mentor, quantum healer, author, and a yogi. He has worked for corporates for 20 years, so he really knows what challenges we corporate employees face every day. As a founder of Reality Simplified, he now dedicates his life to helping professionals break free from corporate grind and design a life which is full of purpose, freedom, and abundance. He was kind enough to spare some time for us and throw some light on his journey and give us some practical tips to make our life a little bit better. So, Brahmarishi, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Very honored and grateful to be on this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as I told, you used to work for these Fortune 500 companies as successful IT consultant. Then suddenly a big moment of awakening happened for you. I don't know if it was more sudden or it was gradual. Will I try to know from you? So, what was that trigger which which motivated you to turn into a different kind of person that than a normal corporate employee you were?
Great question. Thank you. So, during this almost 20 years of my corporate career, I every day was realizing something. Like, see, as a child, as a youth, I was sold a dream. Hey, become an engineer, go do masters. So already, I was in student debt and all of that. But I was like, okay, this is the path. And then get into a big multinational company. So I worked with really, top level multinational companies, Fortune 500 companies. But when I was living that life, if you look at it from outside, I was, on paper, everything was fantastic. I'm flying across the world, that executive lifestyle, wine and dine and dinners and lunches and, big corporate deals, millions of dollars. All of that was there.
Right.
But when I was living that life, I was feeling very empty. On paper, yeah, I'm working on a phenomenal deal or, creating presentations and all that kind of stuff. But there was no meaning, there was no purpose in this. Essentially, it started becoming very clear to me that, all this setup is basically a house of cards. So the property that I had, or the car that I've bought, even school fees, all of that is dependent on just one thing: corporate salary.
Right. Right.
And as I was going through this life, I was feeling like my time is not my own. Where I can be, where I cannot be, I'm not in control of that. So I'm basically investing my entirety of existence behind just one thing so that I can get this paycheck and keep this house of cards intact.
Right.
And when do I get this break? When do I get to, do something else?
Yeah.
After maybe next 30, 40 years, when all the mortgage has been paid off, when all the obligations are done. But when my body is not capable of having any adventure, what's the point of me buying back my time? What's the point of me getting my liberation back?
Right.
And the grind in which I was, so office toxicity was there, politics was there. Essentially, I was just a number in the corporate database. As long as you are useful, you will be there. Once that use is gone, you will get an email. Yeah, this position has been made redundant. Here is your severance package, and that's about it. So when I became aware of this, first it was not a very conscious awareness. I was just dissatisfied. Deeply at a soul level, I was very dissatisfied. And what this was leading to was a life full of self abuse, meaning work hard Monday to Friday, then drown yourself in alcohol just to de stress, decompress over the weekend. And again, start that, every Sunday evening, I would start feeling a deep sense of perturbation, you
Mm.
know, uh, uh, deep sense
Because
of
weekend
blues
is
about
getting
all
over.
the same
Yes.
grind starts again.
Yes.
So I was deeply questioning the meaning of life. Is this life? Like, just pay the bills and die one day, then what's the point of this, right? And the abusive cycle. So I used to smoke 30, 40 cigarettes a day. I was like crazy compulsive alcoholic. Like, if there is a bottle of whiskey and there is me, the bottle of whiskey will be gone. And that continued for almost 20 years. So I
Okay.
was deeply fed up with the entire existence, entire experience of life, and I was asking this question over and over again. What the hell is the point of being alive? And obviously there were responsibilities, responsibility of family, responsibility of kids, responsibility of relatives, all of that being there. It was feeling like I was like carrying this huge load on me. I was getting crushed under that load, and my own self-destructive tendencies. So this
Right.
is what led me to a very different direction, where I said I need to understand the meaning of life first. Why do we suffer? Why do we struggle? Well, unless I get that, I don't see a point in just continuing like this. So that's what led me to a deeper quest of life, of me. Who am I? What am I?
So it was more gradual. It was not like a knee jerk movement that you saw something and suddenly. So it was like gradually you, basically for all those years that when you were drowning yourself in this alcohol and all, when the party is over and you are alone, I'm sure you would have very less self regard for yourself, because that person who was just 2 hours back having a party, when everybody's gone, he's looking at himself as not with very high pride, right? So that is another, let's say, self sabotage we have. So it gradually it happened. And also my second question was like, this kind of self awakening moments we normally have every day. We decide, I don't like this, I want to go from point A to point B, and we decide, we means we normal people like us. But next morning, when the bell rings, we again go on our own normal routine. And that all thoughts, we just postpone it for maybe another week, another month, but we don't take action. For you, you were courageous enough that you took an action and you came out of that grind and you made a new life for yourself, and now you're helping others people also in making that life. So what was that force, that guiding force, which gave you the courage to take this drastic step? Because normal people, 9 out of 10, I would say, will not take this step. They will feel bad about themselves. Up to that part, they and you have common, but after that, they will not take an action, and you took the action. So, what was the
So,
guiding force?
suffering is a big teacher.
Mhm.
Those who come up with, say, New Year resolutions and then they don't follow through, the suffering behind is not intense enough. That's simply the thing. Where is courage born? Courage is born, say, look at a cat, right? Cat, normally, if you go shoo, it'll get scared and run away. But you corner
Right.
a cat and then it will show you its courage. So
Okay.
life basically just cornered me. You
Okay.
just cannot go ahead this way. And like, I was deeply programmed throughout my life, okay, get a good education, get a good degree, and then get a good job, and then be a good son, good husband, good father, all of that. So that was my total programming. So fortunately, life had different plans for me. So life cornered me enough, right? Said, go ahead and operate like this anymore and see what happens.
Mhm.
Because like basically life shut every other door.
Okay.
And I was like, I just cannot go ahead this way. This, like, it's clear it's a dead end.
Yeah.
So that's where I had to open a different door, and that door opened within. Now you mentioned that we all get realizations or awakenings every day, but we fall back. See, those are epiphanies. A spiritual realization, when you have, it will change the fundamental way in which you look at the world.
Okay.
It will literally rewire your neurons, the way your worldview is, the way your self view is. Once you have that, there is no going back. You cannot fall back. There's nothing to fall back to, because you have just, it's like you were walking blind in your life, and the blindfold came off, and first time you use your eyes. Now that you have used your eyes, you cannot go back to being blind. So that is how fundamentally transformational a spiritual awakening is. A moment of literally breaking out of this prison of the mind, the illusion created by the five senses.
Right. Yeah, you told that you were programmed. I would completely agree with you that especially we in Indians, we have these frames, that there is a certain frame you need to fit in. Same for girls also. Actually, the frames are multi. For girls, it's even more. Boys still have some liberty. So yesterday, one of my best friends, my college friends, his son now got admission into IIT Madras, and we were all congratulating. At that moment, I was basically researching about you and preparing for this podcast, and I was thinking, is it what this is the cycle of life? So IIT Madras, I mean, anybody who is studying this non-medical in 11th and 12th, to getting into IIT for him is a dream. So if you look at ourselves, for sure, your journey also started with some engineering college. My journey also started with engineering college. So now at this person, he should be happy, or he should be like which path he's taking. So we are lucky enough that we are fortunate that we are able to at least think about these things like spirituality and well-being and finding answers. But before coming to all these points, we have to first make our layer one, layer two, the physical needs, security, and all those things fulfilled. So so yes, I mean, these are frames, we have to fit in them, and the next generation is again fitting in them. Hopefully they will have, other than this job, they will have uh, some more items to fill the gaps and make life more fulfilled. This I wish for everybody.
Yeah,
What
so see, let's just talk a little bit on this point because this is extremely important.
Right.
What I'm doing is not about telling people, hey, quit your jobs and do something else. That's not my intention. It is not about you doing a job or you becoming an entrepreneur. That is not the underlying initiative. The fundamental, which you just touched upon, is there are multiple layers to our existence. Okay.
Right.
So first most important layer that people see visually is the physiological needs, food, water, warmth, rest,
Right.
then comes the psychological needs. Do I have a house that I own? Do I have cars? Do I have a reputation in the society?
Mm.
The problem is most people start bottom up, right?
Right.
Taking care of physiological needs first, then psychological needs, then we have got emotional needs. Am I drawing fulfillment from what I do? Very few people reach this point where they go, yeah, I'm working on my passion. You are one of them. You have got your passion project that you're working on. The
Yes.
next layer within is your identity. Who am I?
Mm.
Your prestige in your own eyes, right? And then comes self-actualization, the highest level where you are fully in alignment with yourself, with
Yeah.
the purpose with which you took this life. And when you operate from that space, you're operating at your highest value potential. Now, the problem is society has conditioned us to go bottom up. But
Mm.
when you go bottom up through this ladder, you will see people get exhausted at level one, level two, and
Right.
they have no energy, no time, no motivation to be able to pursue anything deeper. And
Right.
that's where they get stuck. Now, the problem is when you are in this state, you have bought into dreams which have been offloaded on you by the society.
Mm.
I was part of the same narrative, right? Become an engineer. If you're not an engineer, you are nobody, right?
Right.
If you have become an engineer in IIT, you are somebody.
Mm.
This is all other people's projections, and we just buy them and make them our dreams. Yeah, this is my dream, and I gotta
Right.
chase this because the pressure from outside is so much. You're not even allowed to think in a different direction. If somebody who has just passed an IIT exam, if they say, no, I don't want to do IIT, who's gotten selected, if they say, I don't want to do IIT, I want to start something of my own, they'll say, you are crazy, are you
Right.
mad? Nobody else gets chances like this. So the pressure from outside is too much. And what is the outside trying to tell you? Just secure your base 2 layers and you'll have a good life. This is a
Yes.
lie. This is the biggest lie in which society is caught up. And as we go further, I'll tell you why this is the time to break it, because this lie is not going to work. just a few years down the lane. We will open that whole conversation. But what I'm trying to help people understand is, this is the whole traditional way. The way you are creating your life is outside in. I
Right.
am the last one, me as in your individual self,
Yeah.
is the last one, last priority in this ladder, right? First, my physiological needs to be taken care of. My psychological needs need to be taken care of. My emotional needs need to be taken care of. My societal responsibilities need to be taken care of. Then finally, if there is some time and energy left, I'll come back to me.
Right.
This is the biggest problem. And since thousands of years, the beings who have broken through have been telling us, know thyself. First, you know yourself, then everything else will fall in place. So I often run, I regularly run this workshop called Thrive, where I teach people how to create their reality inside out. Why is this so important? See, when you are completely in alignment with yourself, when you know what is your purpose, then the natural action that you take from this space will have a very different quality. This is what Sri Krishna also told Arjuna, right? Yogastaha kuru karmani. Stay aligned and then take action. Why? Because see, 99% of the world is just caught in those first two layers, physiological needs, psychological needs.
Yeah.
But today, more than ever, when there is so much of noise on social media, where you are seeing a lot of content generated by AI, people are bombarded with ads every 3 seconds. What will bring you opportunities? That is differentiated value. So how do you bring that differentiation? Naturally, when you find alignment with the deepest core of life, the source of life, your highest self, 99% of people are not doing that, right? They are not even aware of this. Then automatically the quality of action, the clarity with which you work, the kind of energy you exude, that to other people will feel very elevated. Wow, how is he doing this, or how is she doing this? Now naturally they'll look at you differently. This is what automatically creates opportunities. Hey, I'm struggling with this, I can't see what you can see, can you help me? Right? So when you start creating from inside out, that is the most stable platform. That is the most stable way to create a resilient, recession-proof dream reality. Okay? A reality which is not going to go up and down based on market forces. I'm sure right now you are aware that there are trade wars going on. There's a Cold War going on between US and China. When biggest economies like this, they are fighting, it's going to cause shakeup in everybody's life. I'm sure you are aware of hundreds of thousands of jobs in corporate which are getting lost every year since 2023, 2022, 23, 24, 25. The numbers are just growing. And economists are predicting, hey, there is a massive economic correction which is available, which is probable, right? This is a time which has been predicted in so many prophecies and all that stuff. But I like to keep things logical so that, it's easy to understand for people. See, right now, we are at a cusp of a massive change because we have created transformational changes right away. One, we have given birth to intelligence, which is AI. See, our intelligence is the most distinguishing factor that separates us from rest of the life forms on this planet. It is because of our intelligence that we are dominating. We are not as strong as elephants. We are not as ferocious as lions. We can't fly. We don't physically, we are nothing compared to any of these creatures. But we are still the dominant species on the planet. Why? Because of intelligence. See, Einstein had 160 IQ. AI today is already at 157. And the next step in the evolutionary journey of AI, be it artificial superintelligence, artificial general intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that is going to just 100x the IQ. Meaning, now you are dealing with machines which have got 1600 IQ. So what is the value that is relevant? What is the intelligence? What is the brain power that you have which is going to be relevant anymore? Almost negligible, right? People are spending 2-3 years learning AI, and suddenly the next release outdoes all of that, and now all the skills you have developed, they have been replaced by one prompt. You give one prompt to this new advanced smart AI agent, and it will overtake all the learnings that you had in terms of working with AI. This is the age. This is a fundamental change. See, there was a time when just one invention, printing press, completely changed the game. It
Right.
changed the global society from being a monarchy to being republic, to becoming democracy. That was just one printing press, and that was a very dumb tool compared to what we have got today. Now think an AI, an intelligence that can feed itself and go on exponentially creating more of itself and more advanced versions of itself. What kind of transformation it's going to bring? Yes, that's one level. Second level of massive change is polarization of global economy. See, for last 80 to 100 years, dollar has been the only mechanism for international transactions. But because of the arrival of blockchain, now new transactional capabilities are there. Talk about BRICS Pay. India wants, Rupee to be a global transactional currency. China wants the same. What I'm talking about is this economic polarization where there are other options available other than the dollar. But this, in a longer run, it will decentralize the power, which is fantastic. But in a shorter run, what's going to happen is de-dollarization. What is de-dollarization? The value and demand of the US dollar coming down. Now you would say, why is this a big deal? See, the thing is, there are countries who have got massive dollar reserves, which keep its economy afloat. Now, if the dollar suddenly starts declining, the fundamental on which all currencies are sitting, which is we have got certain amount of dollar reserve, that is what is giving the value to our currency, that will come down. At the same time, you are aware that there is inflation happening, cost of living is going up, cost of affording homes is going up, all of that is happening, and your currency suddenly devalue. How will this corporate system work? I'm sure you are aware corporate system works on disparity. So if the company is earning in dollars, they can offshore the work so that they pay cheaper rates to people living in countries with local currencies. The currencies are cheaper. That's what gives them that profit margin. Now, if dollar comes down, that profit margin gets reduced. So obviously companies have to execute cost cutting measures and stuff like that, which is resulting in this mass layoffs. But they want to keep the business running. What will they do? Obviously turn to more automation. In fact, there are companies who have laid off 90% of their staff and replaced it by chatbots. So what we are looking at is a very different kind of world. Very, very different kind of world. You're talking about AI, you're talking about robotics in applied fields. And where will it get applied first? Industrialization, wars, defense mechanisms, but at the same time, daily tasks, right? So we have created something which can effectively replace us from the workforce. As simple as that. So this traditional narrative that is going on, hey, go get a secure job and your life will be set, that is going to get challenged. It is getting challenged already for white collar workers, but as the things progress, blue collar jobs are also on the line. So the assumption that has been working for past many decades, hey, go get a good job and you will have it for the rest of your life and your entire generations can, flourish on that. That assumption is going to get challenged big time. That is why it is very, very important today to unlock your power. Right now, humanity has given their power to everything else other than themselves. This is the time to come in your power, operate from that power and deliver impeccable value that AI cannot replace. This is more important than now. If you don't make yourself relevant today, AI will make you irrelevant very quickly.
Very well said. Very said. And very scary also. Very important point you mentioned. When we talk about de-dollarization, normally people think it's bad for America, but you very well pointed out that it's not only bad for America; it's bad for a lot of countries. And this was very, very, very nice point that you mentioned, highlighted. Good. So I will talk about my next section about your campaign that you are having, this reality simplified. So you are helping people in reaching their goals, uh, adding more value to their life with this campaign. So what is it all about, and what's your mission statement? Can you please tell a little bit about this reality simplified?
Definitely. Thank you for asking. See, the thing I want people to understand is you are the creators of your reality. But then if that is true, why are we creating suffering and pain and conflicts in our reality? The fundamental reason or the fundamental word behind this is karma.
Hmm.
What is karma? Karma, is it some woo-woo thing that universe uses to punish us? No. Karma is essentially residual memories, residual traumatic memories. If you have residual good memories, they are working in your favor. But if you have residual traumatic memories, however small they be, they are causing hindrance in your experience of life. Now, when this trauma is playing in you, in your subconscious, that is what is blocking you from living your dream life. Let me take a very simple example. Somebody wants to be a singer. Now, that's their dream. It is their conscious dream. I want to be a singer. But subconsciously, what's going on is as soon as they think, okay, I'm going to go on stage and I'm going to sing, one thought will come, last time when I did, somebody laughed at me, somebody ridiculed at me, somebody said, if you sing, we would have to run away from here. Whatever was that, right? So as soon as the conscious thought comes, hey, I want to go and sing, a subconscious routine plays up. Yeah, but I will be ridiculed. What if people laugh at me? What if nobody likes it? This is karma. This is what is blocking you from, fearlessly pursuing your dreams. If you really look at it, all conflict, all fights in the world are happening because of this traumatic past. You talk about this Israel and Iran and whatever conflict that's going on. See, it's all started in 2022. Till then, things were relatively calm. Now, what happened? Suddenly, somebody realized, hey, for thousands of years or hundreds of years, they have been doing this to us. What is that realization? You are just reliving a memory that has been, a generational or collective memory of that place. If this is not happening now, why do you want to go into the past and trigger something? And what happens when you operate out of the traumatic memory, traumatic past? You create more trauma in your present and in your future. So the fundamental problem of humanity is not something out there. The fundamental problem of humanity is in us, the traumatic memory. This traumatic memory covers your entire nervous system, meaning you've got a thought, but you've got an attached traumatic thought or memory with it. Like I gave an example of somebody wanting to be a singer. That applies everywhere. Somebody wants to be a millionaire. Somebody wants to be a businessman. Whatever they want to, one or two voices will pop in the head. But if you do this, what if this happens? But if you do that, what if that happens? This trauma, it's embodied in all of us. Now, unless we handle this trauma individually, see, those who are on the awakening path in my community, in my circle, they realize when trauma comes, they know how to diffuse it. They know how to release it. When you release the trauma, that is where you're shedding your karmic baggage and your soul, your being becomes lighter, freer, and liberated out of it. But when you don't have that awareness to carefully handle that release of traumatic emotions, traumatic memories as they come up, you end up acting through it. And when you act through it, that is what you are seeing out there in the world in the form of riots and conflicts and communal clashes or wars. All of that is trauma manifesting outside. So it is fundamentally the stored trauma in human system which is messing up our reality at an individual level, at a family level, at a community level, at a country level, and at global level. So my purpose, my mission with Reality Simplified is to help you learn these multi-dimensional existence that you have. People think they are just the label. Somebody is called Tom, they think I'm Tom. Somebody is called Julie, they think they are Julie. But it's not so simple. You are a multi-dimensional being who has got multiple layers. When you learn to access these multiple layers, you realize, hey, I've got control over every aspect of my being. This is what is called as becoming a master of your reality, master of life, where you know how to regulate your thoughts, how to regulate your emotions, how to transform your identity so that you can show up in the world in the most empowered way, most effective way, and consciously, by choice, by will, by intention, create your dream reality. This is what helps you transcend over this trauma coming up or emotional baggage that shows up. It shows up. Obviously, whenever you are going to do something new, it will show up.
Yes.
But is the power in you, or have you given your power away to your thoughts, emotions, and all that programming, traumatic past? Is that creating your present or future, or are you sitting in the driving seat and creating your future by will? When you create your future by will, especially when you come in alignment with yourself, you will realize, what I call as unity consciousness, oneness.
Mm.
In Indian languages, it is called as Kaivalya,
Only.
where you
Well,
realize
yeah.
there is only one being,
Mm-hmm.
there is only one life. So you sitting over there and me sitting over here, the only difference is the body, the
Mm.
thoughts, the experiences that we have gone through, but the life in you and the life in me is exactly the same. This is
Mm.
what Namaskar means. I bow down to the life in you, the divinity in you. So
Okay.
when I realize that who's sitting there, who's sitting here, it's the same. There is no difference. If I get hurt, I will feel bad. Similarly, if I hurt somebody, they will feel bad. When this is an experiential realization, why would you want to hurt somebody?
Mm.
Why would you want to cause trauma? Why would you want to inflict pain on somebody else? They will feel exactly the same, like
Yeah.
how I would feel when this is done to me.
Right.
Now, when you see the world from this place, you will realize any kind of fighting, any kind of conflict is utter stupidity. We are just operating out of bestial nature.
Mm. Mm.
So
Right.
transcendence is coming into the divine intelligence, transcending this bestial nature, the reactivity, the territorialism, the conflict, the headbutting. How if animals have to sort their differences out, what do? They
They will.
headbutt.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
this not what you see happening at the global level? Like if you see
Yes.
Earth to be one family and each country to be a family member, now when they are headbutting like this,
Yeah.
can a
It's more like
family
an.
feel like peaceful, happy, joyful when two major members of the family are fighting like this?
No way.
That is what in India we have got a fantastic culture. It is called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Mm.
Earth is my family. When
Yes.
we hold this, it is more important today than ever, when world is just escalating into conflict and conflict and conflict without realizing the amount of firepower we are sitting on. There's a
Yeah.
book that was written last year which says if a nuclear war was to break out, it will take only 48 minutes for us to wipe out the entire civilization.
Mm.
If we have that kind of power today, is it not everybody's responsibility to have total awareness about what actions are happening through me?
Yeah.
Am I working for the benefit of a long term benefit of everybody involved, or for some personal gain? I'm working, and if things don't go my way, I get triggered and act
Mm.
out of trauma, causing I don't know what
Further
kind of
damage.
conflict, what
Yes.
kind of pain, what kind of damage to others and myself. So
Well.
that is my mission, to help people realize their creative power so that they can overcome this traumatic past and become conscious creators of their reality. See, my experience of life has taught me it is possible to create whatever you want, whatever kind of reality you want. The only blocker is trauma. If you don't handle it, then you will act through that trauma and mess up. But if you learn to handle it, not only you will realize the highest purpose of human existence, which is to cut through the karma and realize your divinity, but at the same time, once you have cut through the karma, it becomes most obvious for you, hey, this is how I can create my dream reality, whichever way that dream is for you.
And
Not
the direction
borrowed
is
dream,
clear.
not imposed dream
Yeah.
from society, but innate dream, coming out of your own being, coming out of your own soul.
Great. At least the end goal looks very, very fruitful and very meaningful. I will ask you in the coming questions about the path. That is, so now here I see that when you are talking about all these things, I can very much see that you are very strong in your willpower. And as you have taken many roles in your life, from engineer to IT consultant to this, and I can see that whatever you planned, you did it, you achieved it. That shows that you have a very strong willpower. Somebody might say God gift, but I would say that you have worked very hard in getting that. So please help a lot of people who are self doubting. Like today, if I want to start something, let's say I want to start playing guitar, and within 2 months I want to be ready with at least 5, 10 songs for a party. This is like a dream. I will, before making this dream target for me, I will start getting self doubt. Can I do it? And as you said, many people will ridicule me. What if I make many mistakes? What will happen? So, how can we overcome this self doubting thoughts so that our willpower can be a little bit more strong and we can achieve our goals with strong, I mean, like you can say, clear focus?
Fantastic question. So, few things we need to be very clear about. One thing, as you said, how can I overcome my thoughts? So, you need to understand none of the thoughts are yours.
Mhm.
There is no such thing as my thoughts and my emotions. Okay. This is all learned behavior. For example, when you were a kid and there were grown-ups around you, when something unexpected happened, how did they react? Out of stress, out of overwhelm, out of anxiety? That is what just imprinted on you, right? In Sanskrit we call it sanskaras, conditioning, the conditioning that has gone on you. That's a learned behavior. When things don't go my way, how do I respond to it or react to it? And that behavior is so deeply buried in you that it doesn't wait for your permission. Things don't go your way, suddenly anxiety, you're feeling anxiety, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not, right?
Right.
Similarly, when you're saying, yeah, I want to prepare 10 songs and prepare for a party, and this thought comes in, what if nobody likes it? This is not necessarily your thought. Somebody has asked you this, or you have seen somebody ask this to somebody. This is again a borrowed thought. Now it's
Yes.
playing in your field, that's all. So the most important thing, if you want to, not only just one example of I want to do one difficult thing, if you want to lead your life the way you want it, most important thing is to realize the illusion of thoughts and emotions.
Mhm.
People are obeying their thoughts and emotions. There is no meaning behind thoughts and there is no inherent meaning behind emotions. But when they happen, you think of them to be real. So the thing is, our system does not really differentiate between something happening in physical reality versus it's just happening in imagination.
Mhm.
So then what happens whenever you are going through some, say, traumatic thought, your entire system starts experiencing that trauma. Sometimes you go through doubtful thoughts and your entire system starts experiencing the doubt, hey, this cannot happen. How will this happen? Whatever.
Mhm.
That's why transcendence is so important. Transcendence allows you to see through the illusion of these thoughts and emotions, which are coming out of your own depth, coming out of the memory. But what is memory? It's learned behavior. All this disempowering behavior has been borrowed from outside. That is the conditioning, that is the karma, those are the samskaras. You need to break through this through awareness. The only way to break through this is through awareness, being so present and questioning that thought when that is happening. Say, going with the same example, I need to prepare 10 songs for a party that's happening.
In two
Thought comes
months.
up, what if nobody likes it? If I
Yes.
have never experienced this, how do I know nobody will like it? What if people like it? So you have the power to turn the whole thing around. You are just buying into the thoughts that are just popping up in front of your head, in your head in front of you. When you start taking your power back from the thoughts and emotions, you will realize you can create whatever kind of thoughts and you can generate whatever kind of emotion you want. When you do this, that's when you are operating from your power. You are telling your system to what to think, how to emote, and how to relate to the activity that you want to execute. I'll share a simple story. This will illustrate it very well. So few years ago, we had a couple of dogs, and a
Okay.
family, came to visit us. They had a 5-year-old daughter,
Okay.
and now, as soon as the daughter saw the dog, she was like, no, no, no. And she was like, I want to go back into the car, back into the safety. So the mother said, yeah, don't mind her. Let's go inside because, we have genetic fear of dogs. Everybody in our family is afraid of dogs.
Okay.
And I smiled because this was a chance for me to break through that illusion. So I said, okay, you give her to me. So I took that daughter, like took that child, and with my daughter, we were playing in the backyard. Half an hour later, the mother comes out, and to her amazement, she's seeing this girl who was terribly mortified of dogs now playing, putting her hand inside the dog's mouth, tickling the tongue of the dog. There was no fear.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to illustrate here is how you have been taught to relate to something that, if that has happened unconsciously, that is the disempowerment, that is the unconscious. When you turn that into conscious, and when you take control of it, you have the power to change everything around. So basically, the belief that we have a genetic fear of dogs, that genetic fear evaporated in less than half an hour, because I created an environment for that child to feel completely safe with the dogs. After that, she was never afraid of dogs.
Well,
So everything about us is completely reprogrammable. It is just about where you are sitting within yourself. If you are identified with the thought, you don't have power over it. If you are identified with that emotion, you don't have power over it. But when you come back into the space of equanimity, samadhi, that's when you have got power over everything. You have the ability to reprogram every aspect of you. If you understand epigenetics, so my body, I had inherited arthritis.
okay.
Through this programming, reprogramming myself, I was able to relieve my body of that understanding that, hey, arthritis is something real. At that level, we can go down into our own genetics and reprogram ourselves. This is the power of samadhi. So I want people to come back in alignment with this innate power. This is not coming from somewhere outside. This is the innate power. I just want people to learn to sit in it so that they can heal themselves. And as a byproduct of people healing themselves, coming in the bliss and joy of being, the world slowly will transform. The world will become a nicer place where we'll stop fighting with such weapons of mass destructions with each other at one level, and start co-creating a beautiful, harmonious reality where, our children will not have to see what we are seeing in the news today.
So when you were explaining all this, I was trying to jump in because I was dying to say that what you are saying is easier said than done. What you are saying is controlling your thoughts and controlling your emotions. But if it was that easy, there would be no divorces, there would be no alcohol addicts, no drug addicts, no, because everybody who is smoking, he knows it's injurious to health. He's not stupid. I mean, he can read it, but still he's smoking because he knows in deep inside that uh, I know I should not do it, but I don't have control on my emotions. So what you are doing, what you are saying, I was going to interrupt and say that how, but then in between you already mentioned samadhi, so that I think pretty much answers the question, and that was also my next question. So I would just I had this experience of samadhi meditation, which you showed me maybe 2 3 weeks back, and your team sent me some videos, and I followed that. I really liked it very much. Thank you very much. But I think what I felt was my experience, that you do this, you feel this, but you, who are the designer of this samadhi experience, can definitely tell more about why you designed this. And now you can see the direct implementation of that can actually help you in controlling your thoughts and emotion, which eventually will control the whole life. So please explain more about samadhi experience. I'll be silent and listening as I'm doing. I'm enjoying this, learning from you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. So this exactly answers the question that you asked: how do I control my thoughts or emotions? So like I said, if you are identified with your thoughts, if you're identified with your emotions, you have no control over it. Okay. For example, you talked about smoking and alcohol addiction and drug addiction. I'm not somebody who is inexperienced in that space, right? There was a time for about 20 years, I was a hopeless alcoholic, meaning there was a time I could not be left alone if there is alcohol in the house. How much ever alcohol would be there would be gone. I would just finish it all. That is how compulsive I was. there was a time like I used to smoke 30-40 cigarettes a day, meaning for me, taking a plane, taking a flight, especially long haul flight, was a nightmare because I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get to smoke for whatever 5, 6, 10, 15, 10, 12 hours. That is how compulsive I was. So where I'm speaking from is not coming from a space of inexperience where I'm going, yeah, I'm just gonna dump some gyan here, look
Yeah.
smart, and people will deal with it. I
You have
have
walked the
lived
path.
through this.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
I've
have
walked the
walked the
walk.
path. Yes.
So now let's understand this, right? See, the problem is why people struggle to take control over their thoughts and emotions and even their body is this. It is about the fundamental understanding of who I am.
Mm.
See, if you are identified with your body, what is body? Body is, what is the fundamental nature of body? Body is fragile, it can get sick,
Yeah.
it will get old, it can get tired, and eventually it can die. It will
Yeah.
die. If the basis of your existence is on such a fragile platform, stress, anxiety, you know, uh, feeling unsure, feeling scared, that's the natural outcome. Because
Mm.
the fundamental platform on which you are saying, yeah, this is me, that's the nature of the platform. You don't know what will hit you someday and break something. I've broken so many parts of my body throughout the adventures of life. So that's one. The next level up is people identifying themselves as intellectuals.
Mm.
But if you believe yourself to be an intellectual, say I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a this, I'm a that, like I said, this is all borrowed concept. This is our projection happening on you.
Mm.
Again, there is nothing in your control because if you think I'm an engineer and all engineers are losing jobs because of such and such thing happening in the world, again, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, perturbation, what do I do? Because again, your understanding of your existence is sitting on a platform which is volatile, which is not in your control, which is subject to market forces.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes your emotions. So your emotions are constantly responding to your thoughts, right? You
Yeah.
generate scary thoughts, your emotions will respond to it. At the same time, your emotions have, it's a learned behavior from people around you, especially when you are growing up. So if you are growing up around emotionally volatile people, that will become your nature. If you were growing up around emotionally unsound people, reactive people, or overly emotional people, that will become your state. And your
Yes.
identity, it is totally programmed from outside. There are a lot of people who come to me for healing and first question they ask, am I a bad person? I'm like, why are you saying this? Because I've grown up around people who are saying, and this is very common unfortunately in India, right? Using words like nalayak, ye kisi kaam ka nahi hai, and all of that. I'm speaking Hindi right now, but these verbal abuses are very, very common, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
You're
studied in
good for
schools.
nothing.
There, yes, there they use very common term, good for nothing.
Yes.
This is very common term used in that place where I studied. Useless
Yeah.
fellow, good for nothing.
Yes, exactly. In fact, when I was in college or school, I used to hear this a lot. You are just a little bit more mischievous, or you're living out there, you're living your life. Somebody will come and say you're good for nothing. Nothing good will come out of you, right? This, if your identity is holding on to this kind of projection happening on you, how can you be happy with yourself?
Mm.
That is why samadhi. So, without raising your consciousness, if you try to control these forces like your thoughts, your emotions, it's impossible
Mm.
because they are dominating you. This is where samadhi comes in. Let me stop
Okay.
doing whatever I'm doing. Let me stop just playing the role that has been projected on me and just sit in stillness and
Mm.
discover myself. What is my truth, first of all? Who am I? Who is existing here? So, for this to happen, you need to disconnect from the persistent flow of thoughts. That persistent flow of thought, what is your identity? It is a persistent thought. This is me, you know.
Mm.
So when you just calm down and disconnect from that persistent flow of thoughts, it is only then something new arises within, something which is subtle, something which is
Mm.
very, very still. So if you're caught up in the noise, you will miss the silence. So
100%.
that is where samadhi comes in, where you just get very, very comfortable with being first.
Mm.
Me being me is fine. Me being me is all that is needed. you learn to come back to yourself, taking your power away from everything in the world and just coming back to you. When that happens, you will also realize it's deeply empowering, because if your energy is fragmented over past, present, future, everything that you need to be delivering, everything that you need to be doing, handling people's expectations, all the demands of the work, your energy is depleted, dilute, scattered, and becomes impotent.
Right.
Whereas when you come fully back to yourself, that's when your potency comes back. Then even if you take one single action, that has got tremendous force behind you. For example, if I talk about, have you heard of Bruce Lee's 1 inch punch?
Uh,
So Bruce Lee, he used to just hit somebody from this far. You can Google it, you can see videos of it on YouTube. From this far, that punch used to generate so much of power, he would make a grown man fly 4 or 5 feet back. So what is this? That is potency. He has stopped giving his power away to anything at all and fully focusing his power on that one point, on that one little movement. And that focusing of all your power on that one little point delivers a dramatic result that people are crazy to capture it on camera, and we are talking about it even long after Bruce Lee is gone.
right.
This power comes from samadhi. And you don't have to think big terms, right? I see this happening every day. For example, so me, my daughter, we were just getting into rifle shooting. Okay. I took my daughter to rifle shooting range for the first time. Okay. And I just showed her what alignment means. That's it. Okay. This will remind you of Tilavya. On day one, first she was trying to shoot at 25 meters, no target hitting, right? I taught her alignment, target started hitting consistently. Then I showed her how to hit at 50 meters, the same alignment technique. She did that. After this, about half an hour later, people, the seasoned shooters in that shooting club, they were just standing behind us. And now the challenge to my daughter that I had given was, there's a target at 300 meters. Okay.
On the first day.
On the first day, seasoned shooters are going, no, that's not possible, right? And my daughter doesn't know any of this, right? What's possible, what not possible. You have to wear those headphones to protect your ears from the loud noise. So she was wearing that. She's just doing what I'm asking her to do. And I showed her the technique how to hit that 300-meter target.
Wow.
She hit it. Everybody was like, wow. And that 300-meter, target at 300 meters, that's made of metal. So when it hits, it's so far you can't see, but you'll hear the ding. So that hit. People are saying, no, that's just fluke. That's just beginner's luck. I said, okay, do it again. 1, 2, missed. I said, come back in alignment. She came back in alignment. Boom, one more.
Wow.
People are like, for how many years has she been shooting? I'm like, this is the first time she's doing it. Like, not possible. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I said, come on, do it one more time. She repeated that thing 3-4 times, hitting that target at 300 meters. And that basically proved that this is a repeatable process.
So this
This is
just
the
because of
power of
focus.
taking control of your mind.
Okay.
Equanimity, not focus.
Equanimity. Okay. Very good. Okay. The purpose of this podcast, as the title says, rich, happy, not just rich. Let's talk about the people who are not rich but not happy. So having good job, like I explained in the beginning of this video, person whose life looks perfect when you look from outside, but deep within he feels that something is missing. I can tell some practical examples. Okay, let's start with my life. Before having this current job that I'm having right now, I used to be a trainer, technical trainer for one telecom company. I used to go around the world. One part of that job I really liked, talking to people, explaining to them this new technical aspects of new mobile technologies. And when I see on their face, now I understand how it works, that feeling was my ikigai. I loved that. At the same time, it was a challenge that when you go to a new place, you don't know whether the people will be looking for just an overview, or they will already be an expert and they would want deep technical knowledge. So this was like a big question mark, which was a challenge for me at every location. I don't know what to expect. So this challenge kept my job like exciting. I would say afraid little bit, but that fear kept me away. What I really did not like was eating alone in the restaurants in the evening because I was traveling. So this was one part which I did not like about that job. Same I would say for air hostesses. For sure, air hostesses they like going to new places, especially at the young age, seeing new places, visiting, staying in expensive hotels, exploring the world, having little bit liberty. Nobody's judging you what you're doing. So these are all beautiful parts. But at the same time, somebody's throwing up in the aeroplane. This is not a good part of their job. So what I mean to say is no job is perfect. Even if we transit from point A to point B, point B to point C, there will always be something missing. So somewhere we have to find a compromise. This is what I want to communicate to everybody, that there is nothing called perfect. Yes, there's always some part is there. So now let's talk about that person who's we were explaining in the beginning. He has beautiful life, good salary, good position, but something is missing, and that person doesn't know what is missing, and is now looking for an answer without actually knowing the question. So, what would you say to people like that? I mean, his, let's say,
Great
level
question.
one, level two is already crossed. I mean, physical needs, physiological needs, social needs, they are already fulfilled. So,
Great question. See, the problem is we have misunderstood what happiness means.
hmm,
That's why we are chasing it in wrong places. Fortunate are those who start struggling in their life early on, when they're on level one and level two, where they realize maybe I'm not heading in the right direction.
hmm,
But you look at the lives of those who have had good level one, good level two, good level three. So they have got fantastic surroundings, like they have multi-million dollar mansions, they have got great businesses, they have got fame, name, everything.
hmm,
And then when they come to that point, I'm still empty. There is
yeah,
nothing worse than that, right? That's why you see famous personalities or big movie stars getting caught up in drugs, getting caught up in unwanted self-sabotaging behavior.
yeah,
In fact, Jim Carrey, the famous Hollywood star,
comedian is, yes.
he said this, right? I want everybody to have all the money that they want, so that one day they will realize this is not the answer. In fact, you have the answer. Before we got into this conversation, you you recounted a beautiful incident where there was this guy in your college, and he's lost it, right? He's in panic before the exam,
Right.
and you held space for that person. You
Yes.
sat with the person, you held space for that person, you made that person come back to calmness.
Hmm.
The joy of that, you still recounted happily after, I don't know how many, 20 years, I think,
25,
right?
20, maybe 27 years now. Yes.
27 years. Even
Yes.
now, when you recount that incident, you go, yeah, it fills you with pride, it fills you with a sense of purpose.
Right. Right.
Would this sense of purpose that is sustained in you because of that beautiful action, can any other thing give you? Say you buy a fancy new car. After a month, that is not a new car. You have gotten used to it. It's not going to give you any more joy out of it.
Right.
Maybe you can go for a drive, you can travel, but that joy was anyways available to you with your old car,
Hmm.
right? Going on picnics with family, going on travels with family, that is joy. If you are assigning it to the new car, no, even old car could have done that.
Yeah.
So the joy or the pleasure or the happiness is not really coming out of the objects that we are acquiring. If
Yeah.
your sense of happiness is coming out of, I bought this, I've got this. See, you buy a multi-million dollar mansion, but with that multi-million dollar mansion comes a multi-thousand-dollar monthly repayment.
EMI. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Actually, this is very good. Actually, I would like to take this time to introduce, sorry, not to introduce, suggest to our teenagers in India who are now crazy for iPhones and all. So, somebody who just gets into a job, he invests his first few salaries in useless stuff, which nobody needs. But they are very much conscious about what others will say about me. If I'm carrying an Android phone with not a very fancy brand, I would be treated this way. But at the same time, if I have the latest top of the range iPhone, then I'll be treated different way. I was just looking yesterday. There is something called iPhone 16 Pro Max with 1 terabyte. I said 1 terabyte memory. When I started working, my laptop, the desktop, I was lucky that I had an elder brother who was into IT. So when I was growing up, I had a computer at my home. Other people did not have even that. And that computer, I remember, had 6 GB of the hard disk. 6 GB of hard disk. Now you're talking about a phone which is having 1 terabyte of memory. We are having laptops with 128 GB. You know, these Chromebooks. So every data is in cloud, so you don't need much space there. So you are having now laptops kind of things which they call Chromebook with 128 GB. Then you have this phones with 1 terabyte. So why would somebody need 1 terabyte of memories? So what I mean to say with all this example of iPhone is that yes, if you have money, do it, enjoy it. That's why money is there. You are helping the economy, money is circulating. But if you don't have it, don't take it on EMI. I mean, if you don't have money, don't take it on loan, and then the next 24 months, or I don't know what's the terms and conditions. I don't look into even those ads. Uh, it's not a good deal. So for the youngsters who just started working, advice would be to pay your college loan, uh, pay, take your parents on vacation who have worked very hard to uh, get you this job, pay them back some nice gesture, but don't waste money on this kind of nonsense things which are just giving you some likes on Instagram, nothing else. Yeah,
Right.
right.
See, so this is a very important point that you brought up. See, one is a poor man's behavior and another is a rich person's behavior.
Yeah,
A poor person will feel rich by owning things that imitate a rich person's behavior, right?
right.
Buying an iPhone makes me feel like a big guy, makes me feel like,
Mm,
oh, I'm rich.
yeah,
That's an illusion. Whereas a real rich person will care not at all about how rich do I look. If you
yeah,
talk about Steve Jobs, the inventor of iPhone, if you see his old videos, he used to show up in the same set of clothes,
yes,
same black t-shirt, same chinos, right?
yes, yes,
So anybody can go and ask him, hey, you are, CEO of such a big company, don't you have money to buy more clothes? That's not the point.
that's
He's
not the
just
point.
not interested in showing off. He
Yes,
doesn't need to project into the world how rich I am, right, for him
yes,
to feel any reward. His reward is his purpose,
yeah,
what he's doing, what he is building. And another important thing, I've been in this tech industry. All the people who are in tech industry who have had early access to iPhone, iPad and everything, I was in mobile technology and all of that, so I always had that.
hmm,
Everybody in this industry is also very aware of the detrimental impact of these technologies, especially when they are introduced in young age into the kids.
hmm,
So these
yes,
people, they want their homes to be tech free. I want my home
hmm,
to be tech free, right?
hmm,
My daughter has very limited access to the devices, and when that access is available, my daughter creates. So at age 11, she's writing novels, she's publishing books on Amazon.
wow,
That is what is the use of technology when it is used in the right way. It's a tool,
right,
but
right,
if you handle it incorrectly, it will overpower your mindset. Technology today is created in such a way that it is addictive. Your
hmm,
attention is what generates money.
hmm,
So look at YouTube. People are so addicted to YouTube, they can't wake up, they can't open their eyes without opening up YouTube. What's happening in the world today?
yeah,
They can't go to sleep without what's happening in the world today.
yeah,
This is addictive. Your mindless scrolling, your mindless addiction is keeping
right,
you in a deeply consumer zone. You are just addicted to consuming stuff that is being created by others,
right,
right?
yes,
But the ones who are really making money, they are not consumers, they are creators. Unless you create something of value, there is nothing for anybody else to buy from you. When there is
yes,
nothing from anybody else to buy from you, you're just not growing, you're not creating anything, you're not making money, you
right,
are not opening channels where money will come to you. You are just addicted to channels which will take away money from you. So
hmm,
you buying an expensive iPhone is not making you rich, it's making Apple rich, right?
yes, yes,
So in this, again, coming back to yourself? Why is your sense of worth coming from the likes that you are getting on Instagram? In
mm,
fact, if you really want to be rich, forget about what other people think about you. Forget about, whether other people like what you're saying, other people like what you're doing or not. If you just get obsessed about this one thing, how can I deliver highest value potential out there? How can I operate at my highest capacity? And that doesn't mean working hard, grinding, killing yourself. Like for example, me, I don't like to work more than 2 to 3 hours a day. That's enough for me.
mm,
So like somewhere in this you said, my journey has been hard. No, my journey has not been hard. My journey has been discerning.
mm,
Whatever is hard that I'm going through, I ask, why am I having to deal with this?
mm, mm,
It's not that I'm going to abandon that job. I will do this job to the fullest now, but that job, I'll squeeze it to derive wisdom out of it.
mm,
What has gotten me in this circumstance where I'm having to deal with this hardship today, and what can I learn out of this so that I don't have to come back into hardships again,
mm.
right? So
Okay.
discernment is the most important thing, and it's getting more and more important as we are progressing. Say today, if you cannot even discern what you are watching on, say, YouTube, that is the data that's going on in your mind.
Yeah,
And
that's
what's going
critical
on in your
thoughts.
mind is
Yeah.
creating your reality.
Yes. Yes.
Now we are getting into the world of virtual reality and
Mm,
you wearing headsets and completely going into immersive fields, or you talking about brain machine interface, with that Neuralink chip that Elon Musk has developed, where a chip gets implanted in your brain and you don't even need your eyes. All the data is coming in your brain and you are generating thoughts which is
mm,
interfacing with the machines, meaning the addiction has been implanted in you. Now
mm,
nothing, not even your thoughts, not even your emotions, are in complete control of you. You are in complete control of,
mm,
if that Neuralink gives you a ping, a signal, hey, open this chat, you don't know where this technology will go. So
mm,
this is
mm.
the time to take back the control, take back the power. If you don't know how far this rabbit hole goes.
Right.
See, YouTube is not any less addictive than cocaine.
Yes.
People get cocaine and then they get wasted. People are getting wasted just watching YouTube throughout the day.
Right.
If you are not exercising your body, if you are not exercising your will, if you are not exercising your discernment, what are you creating? What future are you creating? Nothing is in your hands if your discernment is not in your hands.
I would like to share something personal here. Like, let's say I'm living here in Saudi Arabia, and we are living in Indian community, and let's say every weekend we have some birthday party or some other party or some other. So we have some small gathering because of any reason. So when I'm meeting my neighbors, come friends, we are always saying, "Did you watch that series on Netflix? Did you watch that?" Believe me, in this conversation, I like to lose because I know that if I lose, I'm the winner here. The
Yes,
moment I
absolutely.
decide that, okay, everybody, you did not watch season 3, season 3 is already out since 4 days, you missed it, where are you? I want to lose. In this conversation, I don't want to be a winner. And believe me, this gives me a lot of contentment. I would rather watch something else. I would rather watch, I don't want to tell my hobbies and all because it will become very big, but I don't want to just keep on watching one after the other. Okay, there are some good series which I like to watch with my family as a binding force, you can say, so that then me and my wife and my son, at least we have a common joke that, oh, you are looking like, let's say, Steve. You are looking like. So then at least there are some good use that you watch the series together, and then you make it like a routine for next 8 9 days. Whenever you're having dinner, you watch, and then it becomes like a common joke and binding force for the family. But if you're just doing it because everybody has watched it and you are being left out, that's a wrong path. Once again, it's a red flag. I would really want my friends to not win in this. Nobody should win in this argument. Let this rat race be won by somebody else.
Absolutely. Very well said. See, I want you to do this once, right? It's important to experience so that we understand what to not experience.
Okay.
People think watching this, watching that is going to bring them happiness. Do this, on one Sunday when there is nothing for you to do.
Hmm.
Start your favorite series at 8 o'clock in the morning. binge watch through the day, and then see how you feel by the end of the day.
I have done it. I have done it. There was a time 3 or 4 years back. My family was in India. I was in Saudi Arabia. I was watching this series called Suits about this, this lawsuit. Episode one, next, two, next, three, next. In the 11 o'clock in the night, I was wishing that nobody knocks my door. It's my birthday, and I'm expecting that maybe somebody from the neighborhood would come. And I was really wishing that nobody comes because 3 more episodes are left. I can close them and finish the project.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
see,
that
when the whole thing finished, how did you feel? Did you
not
feel
good.
fulfilled or did you feel
No,
empty?
for sure, guilty. And you see, one thing I know about addiction. I was so about all the addiction. There is one thing common: the person who is addict, he tries to distance himself from the society. That is one. And so when I was reading about the cure, they say the best cure is bring this person in the middle of community. Maybe it is son, wife, father, some friend, somebody. But if this person will stay in solitude, he or she will never recover from addiction. So this one, that Netflix, it is one of the addiction. And you see what was happening to me at 11 o'clock. It's my birthday. The friends who will come not to get something from me. They will come just as a happy, as a nice gesture. That this poor guy, his family is not here. Let us go and make his day a little bit more happy. So they are coming with nice, beautiful gesture, and my heart here is saying that I wish they don't come. So this is the very nature of addictions, how it keeps you down one more step. So I'm planning in the coming days to do some more research about addiction, and to so that through my podcast, if I can touch at least one life, it would be good. Good.
See, if you
Okay.
want to talk about addictions,
Yes.
we can cover an entire episode together on
Great.
this because I do want to touch this subject so that, when people are going through it, if they understand the underlying mechanism of addiction, in that moment awareness will arise. Hey, it's happening because of this, and I know how to break this pattern. Because like I said, I have spent a huge amount of time being an addict, and
Mm,
I've spent a good amount of time not being an addict.
very
So
good.
I know under the layers what happens, and coming looking at it from the depth of just being pure awareness, I know what layers are there,
Mm,
how these layers function. And unfortunately, doctors, the modern medical science today still doesn't understand the phenomena of addiction. Why do we do it? They
mm,
understand it at the level of dopamine loops,
yeah.
how dopamine functions. There are much deeper aspects of addictions which modern science unfortunately hasn't been able to crack yet, and I hope they do. But addiction is definitely curable.
Yes.
Addiction is just a behavior pattern. If we understand it deeply, by coming back into the space of samadhi, you can overcome any kind of addiction.
We will.
Like I said, I was stuck in big addictions, right?
Yeah.
Alcohol in itself is big. Cigarettes in itself is big.
Mm.
So, these kind of addictions I've overcome, and I come from that space. So addictions, if you want to open up that topic,
For
yeah,
sure,
I'll be.
we can plan one more session about this one. Very good. To be very good. So, staying on this topic, I would just ask my last question. This question I want you to direct towards two people. Both of them are not happy, rich but not happy. One person has social obligations, financial obligations, big responsibilities from family, so he has zero risk taking power. He has to live from paycheck to paycheck. Whereas the other person, he has he or she has some savings, some buffer, so some risk taking capability. Maybe for next 1.5, 2 years they can experiment with their life. So the first person who is very tight, he cannot take any chances. The second person who can take a little bit more bold adventurous steps and move towards a better version of himself or herself. So this is my question: what advice you'd like give to both the people of this scenarios?
So in both the scenarios, the advice is the same. You do not need to take unnecessary risks at all.
Hmm.
The only thing you need to do, which does not involve taking any risk whatsoever, is to rediscover yourself, discover the truth of who yourself. As a consequence of that, you will naturally find your purpose. What is my uniqueness? What is my unique scent that I want to spread in this world? This has got nothing to do with any kind of financial risk, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
then when you discover your true purpose, start living it as a passion, as a hobby on the side,
Mm,
so that it starts maturing in itself. As
mm,
that matures and as new pathways start opening up, that itself, your purpose itself, will guide you to creating a beautiful, resilient, recession proof reality, where you go, hey, I am fully thriving in my purpose, I
mm,
am helping others, so it's not work, right? It's joy. Like I said, you helped somebody 25, 27 years ago, and that joy is still present with you. So imagine if that becomes your passion, that through your self expression, could be music, could be dance, could be whatever is that differentiated self expression, just coming out of the authenticity of you. Let it come out in the world first. Don't take any major risks. Today, no major risks are needed to even start a business or your passion project or whatever, right?
yeah,
Somebody is good at singing, they just need to turn on their camera, which is there on their phone right away, start
yeah,
recording, start posting, right? It's that simple.
right.
Let
Yes,
that innate purpose find expression first,
right,
then monetizing it and this and that will come. But
right.
first, come in alignment with the actual self and let that self express itself. There are so many examples in this world. I'm sure you would have heard of this musician called Ed Sheeran,
Of
a
course, yes,
global
yes,
sensation, right?
yes, global
There was a
sensation.
time where he had no money.
Mm,
I heard him in one of the TV shows where he's saying there was a time where I did not have enough money to not have, to have his own apartment. He
mm,
used to post on social media, "Hey, I need a shower. Can I just step into somebody's home?
wow.
And if you allow me for a shower, I'll record a personal song for you." That's how broke he was. And look
Wow.
at the amount of money he is making today.
Yes,
What happened that got him to make this kind of a money and become a global sensation? He allowed the innate self to express itself.
and even today, I think he's a minimalist. I don't think he's more into fancy brands and stuff. He's still a minimalist today, also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anybody who has broken through the barriers and who is living it big,
Mm,
they will not derive their pleasures out of what fancy car I own or what kind of fancy apartment do I have or fancy mansion do I
mm,
have and what kind of luxury brands do I own. The passion, their expression is their joy. Their happiness is coming out of what they are living out there. I gave an example of Steve Jobs. Let's talk about, say, Elon Musk. So it's up to you whether you agree with Elon Musk, you don't agree with him, his policies, his actions. But even as a billionaire, some time ago, he was living in a $50,000 tiny house.
mm, mm,
So the point is this, as I said, rich people don't really bother showing how rich I am,
mm,
right?
mm.
That's
Yeah,
the old money. New rich people, they are really minimalist because they realize the more I own, the more time, energy, effort I have to spend to
right.
to
To
maintain
maintain it.
that, to manage that, and the more invested I am. Instead, if I'm minimalist,
Mm,
all my attention, time, energy, effort is going on in terms of creating what I'm creating out of joy, which is coming out of my highest self expression. This
correct.
is what is self actualization. When you
Right.
start operating from the space of self actualization, everything else will fall in place, and it will fall in place much more resilient and much better than it would if you were starting bottom up, right?
Mm, mm.
Let me gather whatever I can gather, then I'll worry about, how I express. That's the wrong way of doing it. The right way
Right.
of doing it
Right.
is figure out your self expression first. Stay below your means for the while. So, for example, Elon Musk was doing it. There's this guy Alex Hormozy.
Yeah.
He's a big coach in business industry. He's same example. Ed Sheeran, Steve Jobs. You look at that.
Yeah.
They
Right.
started as minimalists. They just honed in on their purpose,
Yes.
allowed that self expression to come out. Even the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, similar example, similar
Yes.
story, right? That is what unlocks your ability to make it big.
Yes.
If you are burdened under $1 million mansion right now, paying those big EMIs or repayments of that swanky car, you have very little time, energy, effort left to be able to create something original out there.
Yeah. Actually, I would mention here that I studied in Germany my masters. My MTech I did from there, from University of Bremen. One thing I learned from this country is that no, they don't give a damn about what others are saying. Even my remember the professors which we were teaching us electromagnetics and who were teaching digital signal processing, they were all very highly respected people in their fields, having many publications and many patents, generating passive income for them. Right? We don't even know, I mean, what kind of incomes they are generating in the background. But I have seen professors wearing same shirt or maximum two shirts in the whole semester. So they are so down to earth, just focused on their let's say their mission. They are having fun in that. That's why they are doing good. So if they were not doing good in their respective field, they would not be making these publications and really thriving. So I assume that this is their reason for being. So the one guy who is very good at designing antennas, another guy who's very good at designing some filters, digital signal processing filters. Uh, but among the university also I saw, and also among the friends, nobody cares that you have ordered a 20 euros dish and this gentleman doesn't have money today, so he's ordering only 7 euros dish, and everybody knows that he cannot afford 20 euros dish today, but they are sitting on the table, and this is not affected. This difference is not affecting their relationship. I have i have really
Absolutely.
felt it by myself. Also, I'll tell you one thing. I used to dance salsa that time, and just when before New Year was coming, the club where we normally used to go, they decided that we will have a big 4 floors, unlimited food or something like that. So this will going to cost maybe 40 or 50 euros, which was a big amount for that time for me. So I said that no, I'm a student, I can't afford that one. But at the same time, some of my friends who were my dance partners from my crew, they said, yes, what we will do, we will go to this party. When the new year 12 o'clock will come, you please come outside this club. We'll come out, we'll have a happy new year together, and then bye bye. So you see that I'm not hiding from them my financial situation. I was a student that time. Spending 50 euros for a night, it was like impossible for me to think of. So maybe I spoke too much about me. Okay, I will just leave the floor to you now. If there is something which you want to convey but I did not ask, please feel free, and then we can conclude, because already I've taken more than 1 hour from you. Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you so much. So, the one thing that I want everybody to realize is over the past thousands of years, we have been conditioned to look for some kind of help from outside of ourselves, to pray for a god somewhere up in the sky, to, follow dogmatic advices, be it from religion, be it from culture, whatever it is.
Right.
But what has this led to is a lack of responsibility, meaning whatever is happening, oh, God is doing it, right?
Right.
Lack of responsibility. Whatever fighting is happening, oh, we are fighting in the name of God, right?
Hmm.
But if we continue down this path, we are seeing, like, look at the wars that are happening, look at individual situations that are happening. We are seeing that we are creating messier and messier circumstances individually for ourselves and for others.
Hmm.
What I'm here to help you understand is you are that. Aham Brahmasmi. There is no God outside of you. You are just operating out of karma and conditioning, which
Hmm.
is keeping you very disempowered, seeking validation from others. How many likes did I get? Did people like my iPhone? Do people like my car? Will they give me any value if I don't have a fantastic car or a big mansion? This
Yes.
is all very superficial. This is all very show based. This is out of alignment with reality.
Hmm.
It is time that you come in alignment with your divine power.
Hmm.
Because when you are sitting in that space of understanding, I am that I am the creator of my life itself,
Hmm.
then the power that will flow through you, the clarity that will happen through you, and the bliss and joy of being in that state,
Mm.
the way you will perform will look like superhuman to others.
Mm.
This is the highest empowerment. You don't need $1 million car or $1 million house. When you show up like this, that itself is enough to get you all the validation you want, all the attention you want, but that will not be your goal at all. Because, as I said, going back to the beautiful act that you did about 27 years ago, the joy, the happiness doesn't come from owning stuff. It comes from growth. It comes
Mm.
from holding space,
Mm.
touching some other life outside of yourself and seeing, hey, how did it feel to help that person take one step? How did it feel to help somebody else transform their circumstances? How did it feel to see someone else transform their quality of life? This is the motivational factor about all the big breakthroughs that have happened in the world. All the amazing creators, talk about Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or
Mm.
all the names that we took. The motivating factor is, how can I transform somebody else's quality of life?
Right.
When that becomes your obsession, no amount of money will be short for you, right?
Mm.
Money will just keep pouring in because you're operating from the highest value potential. Not only this is the most important purpose of having a human birth, which is God realization, self realization, enlightenment. At the same time, this is the best way to create unlimited financial growth, unlimited career growth, unlimited transformation in your own life and in the life of others.
Right.
So if this is something that interests you or your audience, I offer an absolutely free workshop called as Thrive Beyond the Chaos, which
Thrive
is
beyond.
about helping you come in complete alignment with your divinity,
Right.
activate a different level of existence within you, balancing your chakras, helping you free yourself from trauma.
Okay.
Because when you realize that peak experience, what you will see, the way you will see the world will be completely different. See, the
Mm.
way the world looks from the foot of a mountain is not how the world looks when you're on the top of
Top of
that
the
mountain.
mountain. Right. Well said. Well
I
said.
want you to experience that top of the mountain experience for free. There is no agenda.
Okay.
If that resonates and if that's the right path, yes, I will show you what are the further programs that are offered to help you get deeper into your divinity so that you can create from that elevated potential so that the quality of what you create is just out of this world.
Wow.
But those are deeper conversations. It's not obligatory, but at least come and experience your divinity. What was that experience that Krishna gave to Arjuna when he was going through so much of perturbation on that battlefield, right after reciting Gita? That
Right.
experience is available for you. That experience is available for everybody.
Right.
And how would your life transform after having that experience, after realizing your own divinity? That you can only experience. There are no words with which I can describe that.
I will put the link of that thing also in the description, that program also, and also sort Samadhi experience also, as you mentioned, so that many people can benefit from it. Thank you very much for joining me, Bramharishi, here. I'm very, honored because normally my guests are corporate leaders, life coach, but a guest with strong spiritual connectivity is like new thing for me. And thank you very much for
Thank you.
I
Absolute
wish.
pleasure and honor for me. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm glad you were able to get some value out of this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I did certainly did. See you.